Do you want to find out how to spruce up the space? Well, stay tuned. Hi everyone, welcome back, and I'm so glad you're here to talk about neat interior design topics. In this video, we are going to be looking at a room, and I'm going to offer some insights on, what's working well about the room, and then some suggestions about how we can make the room look even better. So if that sounds kind of fun to you, I'd love to have you hang out. And I just want to thank everyone for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. So let's get started. So this is an interesting space because it has two different functions going on in this one big room. And that's always kind of can be a challenge because it's not just one living room area or one dining room area. It's actually two different functions. And I think this space, how this was arranged, is successful in separating the different functions, but also having a look and feel that everything feels unified. And one of the elements that helps to make this feel unified, even though there's two different, functions going on, is the color family. So overall, they're just working with neutral tones. And so, using that throughout that whole space helps to unify everything. And I think there's this nice balance of, the two separate areas. It may not be specifically symmetrical in that, splitting that room down the center and one half is the dining room and the other half is the living room. But it's very close and it feels and looks balanced. Like, one area doesn't look heavier than the other. I think there's this nice proportion of furniture and items on either side of the room. So it helps to kind of help everything look and feel balanced. And then I think there is some variety going on in this space. There's different tones of the neutral colors going on. There's, a dark black or dark browns and also lighter tones in some of the fabrics or on the walls. And, that helps it to have more interest and variety. And, the furniture, all of the furniture in, the sizes of the furniture, I think relates well. There isn't anything that kind of stands out that doesn't really make sense with the other pieces in the area. And also the furniture, relates to the size, the height of the ceiling. And, it feels approachable and comfortable, that everything works well together because of the size and scale of those pieces of furniture. And I also like how they are using, say, an area rug to kind of separate the two different areas, the area rug for the living room area, and then just using the floor for the dining room area. And there's been some thought that went into making sure that there's enough space around the furniture so that, you can walk around the dining room area, to get way over to the other chair near the window, and walk in and out of the living room area. So, that takes some thought to make sure that there's plenty of wiggle room everywhere. So if someone scoots out a chair or, gets in and out of the sofa, that there's plenty of room to be able to do that. I think overall this space, looks and feels good. It seems really approachable. Like you'd want to, kind of go in that space and hang out there. You'd feel comfortable and, enjoy that space. So what can we do to make this room even better? And just, working with what we have and maybe just adding some elements just to, spruce up this space a little bit better. One thing I think the space is lacking is variety. So, variety is about having some contrast in a room. And, there's some contrast going on with the neutral colors. I think especially like with the chairs in the living room, they're, a lighter cream color. They stand out. I see those right away. But overall, there is just kind of this overall sameness or low contrast, low variety going on. And sometimes that can happen when you are just using, neutral colors. Neutral colors are super calming and comforting and familiar to us. But when you're working with neutral colors, you want to make sure that there is variety, that there's some interesting things going on so it doesn't look all the same. So one thing I think would be interesting to do in this room is to add another color to the space. And I'm thinking about using a blue. And the reason why I'm thinking of blue is I'm kind of looking to, these kind of golden, orange, warm undertones of the neutral colors. And looking to a color wheel, like what's the opposite of oranges and golden, tones? And the complementary color, the opposite color, is blue. And so using a blue, adding that to that space, just in different ways, I think will kind of help spruce it up a little bit. One way I would use that blue is to bring it into some fabrics. And, right away, I would add some window coverings, more window coverings to the room. So we could add, a beautiful patterned fabric as draperies in the living room. We could repeat that in the dining room area, or to kind of break it up a little bit to kind of, separate those spaces a little bit, but at the same time, they're still unified. Maybe just put a valance across that dining room area window. And then we can bring in some blues onto, throw pillows or even a throw blanket and some other patterns to bring in onto the chairs and, into the sofa as well. And the other thing I would think about doing is bringing in some blues and other patterns, getting a new area rug. And so bringing those colors into the area rug, maybe not having them as strong as the draperies, but maybe in softer tones, but something to kind of repeat those colors, but also to bring in some more variety. And one thing that would be helpful for this space is to have a focal point. Right away, when you walk into the space, at least this is what I do. I look at the fireplace area. And, the reason why I think we're looking at the fireplace area is because, right, it's the fireplace area. And naturally, when you walk into a room that has a fireplace, that's a focal point of the room. And also there are these spotlights, lighting up that artwork. So, our eye, looks over there and wants to, find out more. Well, what about making that wall a little bit more interesting and painting that wall where that artwork is a blue? So wouldn't that be beautiful? So when you walk in this room, it's like, ooh, right away, you can see this really beautiful area over there. I think that would be kind of neat and help to kind of spruce it up a little bit. And then little changes I would make would be to lower the chandelier a little bit. One thing I mentioned in some of my other videos is if you have related elements, you want to make sure that they are close enough to each other. So, we have a dining room area. We want to make sure that the chandelier is part of that dining room area, because right now you kind of look at the dining room table and the chairs, and then there's some space, and then the chandelier begins. So you want to make sure that the chandelier is part of the whole dining room experience, part of that dining table. So just by lowering that a little bit will help. And then the other thing I would do is add in more artwork on the walls, and maybe take out one of those nice tall plants, maybe place it on another area in the room and place either artwork over there, or even just getting a different type of plant that has a different shape and form to it, just so there's some contrast and variety. And the other thing I would make sure to have is plenty of lighting in the room. There's a table lamp over there, Then of course there is this chandelier, but I'm wondering if they need another table lamp and possibly a floor lamp to make sure that the room is well lit at night. So just by making a couple adjustments, I think that will kind of spruce up the space a little bit. So now it's your turn. What ideas do you have that would help to make this room look even better? Leave your suggestions in the comments. And what are the takeaways that we can think of when we are designing our own spaces? Well, one of them is variety. So making sure, even if you're just using, one color family, neutral tones, making sure to mix it up, not use all dark colors or all light colors. Make sure there's a variety of tones, lightness and darkness in the room. And use pattern just to help break up some of that solid color look. And also have a focal point in the room. Is there a fireplace in your room, or, a beautiful window wall where you have beautiful draperies? What's the focal point so that you can have everyone look at that area first? And maybe think about, using color as another way to spruce up a space. So if your space maybe is starting to look kind of boring or a little bit blah, what about adding some accent colors to it to help, refresh the look? So thanks again for watching, and I hope you're doing well, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.